What's going on, Leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today, we're in the Hall of Spoilers to talk about the top 5 Sith and users of the dark side of the Force.
Bong, bong.
We love Star Wars here, baby, and we're talking about some of the darkest characters in the universe today. We are ranking our top 5 characters that use the dark side of the Force.
And let's clarify, this spans the movies and canon TV shows, as well as any other canon property.
Correctamente. Correctamente. That's a good point, because some people haven't watched the shows, and by the shows we mean Star Wars, Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. So, in particular, our number 5, he's been fleshed out in those 2 shows. So, our number 5 is Darth freaking Maul.
Yes.
His name isn't freaking. It's just Darth Maul. But I just put that in there.
One of the coolest creations of the prequel movies. I mean, when I was, 11 or 12, whenever this movies came out, I liked The Phantom Menace just because of Darth Maul. A little bit because of Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon's a beast. But Darth Maul, it's unquestionable that he looks dope as hell. But you don't get to know much about him in that Phantom Menace movie. He doesn't say anything. He's just there slicing people up. But we fast forward to not only Star Wars, the Clone Wars CGI cartoon, but also Star Wars Rebels, and they really flesh out the background of the character, where you find out he's alive. Spoiler alert if you haven't already seen it. I mean, you're late. Come on. But he's alive. He's lost his mind, but he's starting to gain it back. You start seeing him. You know, he gets an apprentice himself. He vows. He has machinations and plays a part in the Clone Wars and in the fall of the Jedi Order. And later on, you see him again vowing to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's a nice story arc there, and you see some interesting sides of the character. Obviously, one of the major character traits of Darth Maul is that he keeps getting killed, keeps getting defeated in battle. So that's a bit of a knock. That's why he's number 5. But he's got a lot of cool factors. That's why he's really on our list here. And he's ruthless.
Absolutely. I mean, Darth Maul, you know, we find out he's from a planet called Dathomir, and he's from a group called the Knight Brothers. Yeah. And one of said apprentices that DeepBoyce is referring to is Savage Opress, his brother, who, you know, was a very powerful character in his own right, who was kind of enhanced by the witchcraft of the Night Sisters, who channeled the dark side of the Force, as was Darth Maul as well. They were kind of the reason he got brought back into the world of sanity. But I mean, Darth Maul had gone on in the Clone Wars to actually, you know, rule Mandalore. He's actually becomes like the ruler of Mandalore. And I mean, the guy never gave up. That was his whole thing. He was always coming back and trying to be stronger than ever. Ultimately, he failed. But we won't spoil that for you, because that's too good for us to spoil. Yes. Anyway, DeepBoyce, here's with number 4.
Number 4 on our list of top dark side users of the Force is Kylo Ren from The Force Awakens.
Kylo Ren. Ben Solo, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, great movie, great villain. And we know we really like the fact that he's on his journey to maybe becoming more powerful. We don't know where he'll ultimately end up, good or bad, but we like the fact that he is flawed. He's almost like he's a glass cannon of sorts, which I think is something that makes him stand out from all these other choices that we have. He's very flawed. I mean, he has some serious problems that you know, and he likes to, you know, he throws temper tantrums, and he still has a lot left to learn, and he has that teen angst aspect of his personality. But at the same time, he is, and you saw glimpses of him being an absolute beast, and they sort of, you know, allude to that, and probably we'll see that more of that in the upcoming movies about how truly powerful he is. I mean, he destroyed the new, I guess, Jedi Temple, the new Jedi Order that Luke Skywalker set up between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. He's responsible for, you know, a lot of the downfall of the Jedi Order, and, you know, a lot of the reason why the Resistance at this point in time are having difficulties. He's a major factor in the new order. I
mean, let's be honest. We kind of at the end of The Force Awakens, he kind of looked like a bum. All right, he got schooled by Rey, okay?
He did.
But throughout the movie, he showed some really interesting signs of strength. I mean, your man is stopping bullets in midair.
Yeah.
Like, who else has done that? Name them. Name somebody who's done that before. Stopping bullets in midair. Your man was pulling information from people's minds. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even Darth Vader wasn't doing that in the movies. He was using all these, modes of technology to kind of torture people. Yeah. But your man was literally interrogating people by pulling thoughts out of their mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was even the point where he first, kidnapped Rey, right? He kind of met her in the middle of the forest, and she tried to shoot him, and he stopped her movement completely with the Force. Yeah. She couldn't move. And then he also kind of put his hand over her head and knocked her out. She fell asleep. Yeah. Like, he literally knocked her out with the Force. Yeah. With some telepathy. Mm-hmm. Like, that's dope. That's powerful, man. He deserves to be at number 4. As a matter of fact, with the next 3 that we got coming, he's the only reason why we couldn't just name this video Top 5 Sith, because he's technically not a Sith. Yeah. Yeah. You know, J.J. Abrams, who directed Force Awakens, is going on record saying he is not a Sith. Yeah. Neither him or Snoke are Sith. So, Kylo Ren at number 4, man. Number 3, Darth Bane. Yeah, the, I guess, originator of the Sith order from the prequels and the original movies. Well, not necessarily the Sith order. I call him Mr. Rule of Two. Rule of Two. So he's the guy who established the modern perspective, the modern ideology of the Rule of Two for the Sith. True. He was basically, I think he was most fleshed out in Clone Wars, where, Yoda actually encounters kind of like a Force Ghost version of him. Yeah. If that's kind of like the best way I can describe it, kind of like a remnant of him when he went to kind of like a dark side temple. And he meets Darth Bane, and Darth Bane was like the sole survivor when the Jedi of old wiped out the Sith. Now, Darth Bane believed that the Sith, one of the biggest reasons that led to their downfall is the fact that because they're so greedy and power hungry and full of hate, they essentially were always fighting each other, which attributed to their weakness. So he said there'll be no more than 2 Sith, a master and an apprentice. Yes. And that ideology, that's the reason why Darth Sidious was able to do what he did, become the Emperor and hide from the Jedi. And I think that's really important. I think his legacy is important to the idea of the Sith. Yeah, I mean, it was an enduring legacy. It really paved the way for the whatever successes the Sith had at different points in time. Was the fact that there was someone calling the shots and a subordinate sort of sorts. The fact that they set up, he established order. He was prescient enough to see this is what's going to work, and I mean, it worked in spectacular fashion with Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. That being said, DeepBoyce, you said 2 names right here. People know that those 2 names, Darth Vader and Darth Sidious, they're at the top of the list. But who is number 2? One of them is number 1. But we're going to throw some people for a loop right now. Number 2. Number 2, everybody. Darth Vader. At number 2. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I can feel the shock. I can feel the shock throughout YouTube right now. Controversial, I'd say. Most people will probably say Darth Vader for obvious reasons. The chosen one. Right? He's the chosen one. He is an absolute beast in terms of fighting ability. Sure. He single-handedly destroyed many Jedi. Yes. He single-handedly destroyed many members of the rebellion. Yes. He had some impressive powers. I mean, he amazing with the lightsaber, great pilot. He could deflect some laser blasts, as we saw in his scene in Rogue One. Yes. We actually kind of looked it up real quick. And there's a quick scene we're going to put in the video where he actually puts his hand out, guy shoots him in the hand, and it deflects and hits him right back in the face, owns him. And that is not his cybernetic arm. That is his left hand. That is his real arm. Yes. See, so he deflected that. I'm going to go ahead and say he deflected that with the power of the Force, man. Because in Empire Strikes Back, when Lando takes Han Solo and Leia to the dining hall and the door opens and Darth Vader standing at the end of the table, like, what is going on? What's up, y'all? Han Solo shoots at him, bang, bang, pew, pew. And Darth Vader just absorbs the blast with his hands, with both hands. You know what I mean? He doesn't send anything back. And then he takes the gun from Han Solo. But in Rogue One, we straight up see the laser shot bounce off of his left hand, his real hand, and back into one of the rebels. That's dope. Yes. That's dope. Yeah. But the reason why he is not our number one. And I think this is important. Just as much as the reasoning for him being our top 5, the reason why he's not our number one is because the dude spent most of his life as Darth Sidious' biatch, man. It's the truth, man. Yeah. That brings us to number 1, DeepBoyce. Hit him with the number 1.
Number 1 is Sheev Palpatine, a.k.a. Darth Sidious. Yes, that is his name, Sheev Palpatine.
Sheev.
Now, he's number 1 for a multitude of reasons. And he's number 1 over Darth Vader because he sunned Darth Vader for the longest. Keep in mind, Darth Bane, who set up the rule of 2, there's a master and there's an apprentice. Not a partner. Not a right-hand man.
Not a homie.
Not a homie.
Not a brother.
But an apprentice. Darth Vader, the beast, like one of the beastliest Star Wars characters of all time. All that time was an apprentice. He got downgraded, actually, because he was a Jedi Knight. And they put him right back to being a Padawan. Okay.
A Sith Padawan.
Yes. So if Darth Vader is one of the best, one of the most powerful Sith, Dark Force wielding people in the Star Wars universe, then obviously the person that controls him is even more powerful. And Darth Sidious is one of the most conniving and manipulative characters in Star Wars history.
Absolutely. I mean, your man, where to start? From the moment he meets Anakin, he plots to have this man become his apprentice. Yes. He goes through Darth Maul as his apprentice. He uses Count Dooku as his apprentice. In the Clone Wars, he even lets Count Dooku have his own apprentice, Asajj Ventress, to give the illusion that Dooku is a master, with Asajj Ventress being the apprentice. Your man uses political machinations to manipulate the situation into becoming the Galactic Emperor. Okay, the man was, I mean, he was extremely, just smart and intelligent, and able to use, the lust for power that the Sith have, and he was able to keep that below the surface in order to have all these plans come to fruition. And that being said, we brought up Darth Maul and taking over Mandalore. I mean, who went and squashed that situation? Your man, Darth Sidious, said Maul and Savage Opress are causing too many problems for me. I'm going to Mandalore myself.
Yeah, he said, hold my drink.
Up to both of them.
I'm handling this.
He said, hold my beer.
Myself.
Okay, and he scooped up Savage Opress and sent Maul running.
And let's not forget, he went toe-to-toe with Yoda, one of the greatest Jedis of all time.
There you go. Yoda couldn't beat him. That being said, you might even argue that Mace Windu beat him.
True.
But you also have to remember, the whole thing about the Sith is they use trickery and they use manipulation. He manipulated Anakin into killing Mace Windu for him, essentially. Or chopping off his arm, disarming Mace Windu, and him ultimately killing Mace Windu. And that's the thing about Darth Sidious and the Sith. It's not necessarily an outright use of power. It's the idea of the quest for power and how you use your Force abilities to obtain that power. And Darth Sidious was a master at that. Now you might argue and say, well, Vader killed Darth Sidious at the end of Return of the Jedi. To that I say, Darth Vader just picked him up and threw him in a hole. It's not like he defeated him with his, dark Force abilities. Yeah, doesn't necessarily say that the Emperor is less of a Sith because of that. I think that ultimately Darth Vader served as his lapdog for many years, and I think that puts Sidious at number 1 for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to analyze that scene, I mean, it was maybe like one of the only mistakes he ever made. It wasn't even, had he gone toe-to-toe, who knows what would have happened. But it was a mistake. Indeed. He got a little too caught up in the dark side of the Force as he was electrocuting Luke Skywalker. He was there cackling, and he just lost. He lost his focus for like a second, and Darth Vader took advantage of it. And he owned Darth Vader at the same time. I mean, Darth Vader.
Indeed. Darth Vader went down with him, too. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. But let us know who your top 5 Sith or dark side users of the Force are. We want to hear what your opinions are. Let us know if you didn't agree with our list. I could tell, I could feel the people out there saying Darth Vader is number 1. But hopefully you listened to our whole case, and hopefully you're down with what the spoiler league says. But anyway, guys, if you like what you heard today, hit us with a like and subscribe. Join the Spectacular Spoiler League. We want to see you guys in the comment section hanging out in the Hall of Spoilers with DeepBoyce and myself. But anyway, guys, we'll see you later. DeepBoyce, any final words?
Let the power of the dark side consume you.
Show them the power of the dark side of the Force. Yes. We're getting out of here, guys.
Force choke that thumbs up. Actually, don't. Just actually click on it.
Yeah, Force choking the thumbs up is that's a little aggressive, man. You might need to get some help for that. That was a little scary, dogs. A little aggressive.